All right, welcome back. I'm back for yet another rant. And I want to deal with, well, it's not so much of a rant. I am sharing some important news, very important news, important information. Listen to this.
Is in session for some therapy dogs.
After launching in Wright County, You're Not Alone is expanding across Minnesota. Our Derek James first learned of the nonprofit.
Now, this image right here really does tell you everything you need to know. This is a school. Now, what you're looking at, people, looks like a ritual. It literally looks like an occult type of practice. They've formed in a circle. They're in a circle formation. And the dog is in the center of the circle. And everyone in the circle is admiring the dog for no reason at all other than it's a dog. This is the closest thing you can get to actual worship. Understand, Christians don't even treat Jesus like this. Have you ever seen Christians form a circle and put a cross in the center of it? Maybe one of those crucifixes with the body of Jesus still on it, whether the body of Jesus is on it or not. Do you see them that excited about Jesus? Absolutely not. When it comes to dogs, they actually perform rituals. There is no way my child could go to a school like this. Let me tell you, there's no way under the sun I would let my child be in the possession, under the care of you freaks. And I really don't understand anybody comfortable with sending their child to a public school. I'd have to know everything that's going on in that school. Now look at this.
Its mission to bring therapy visits to every middle school in Minnesota 3 months.
Her goal is to bring dogs into every middle school in Minnesota. So if my child was going to a public school, I would have to go up to that school and make a scene. So again, I'm glad that I don't. I'd probably be in jail right now.
Ago, and he recently returned to learn how the project is spreading across city and even state lines.
If you're a student in Monticello Middle School, there's no way you don't know about Willow Grace. The therapy dog's weekly visits have made her...
This is a middle school. And these people bring dogs around your kids. And I know that they don't have permission to do this. They forced that dog onto them kids.
There's something of a mascot at the school, although she's
They got that dog, a picture of that worthless mutt, in the yearbook. Can y'all see this? You should be able to see this. Now, when we talk about them humanizing dogs, shouldn't you add this to the list? Notice how they have the dog above all the other students. Pull up a chair, all of you in the back. Grab some popcorn. We need to have a discussion here. This looks like a ritual to me. This looked like some type of occult practice. They have the dog above all of the students. Do you think it's a coincidence that the laws put dogs above all of those kids as well? You think that's just a coincidence?
technically listed as staff in the yearbook.
Willow's just...
The dog in the yearbook is listed as staff. Look at how strong they try to humanize. Notice how they force everyone in the school to accept dog culture in the school. Another reason why my kids could not go to a public school. There is no way I wouldn't even want my kids touching these people, let alone going inside that nasty school. But aside from the health problems, that's the least of my worries. The real danger here is the indoctrination, what they're actually teaching them. This is actually their way of desensitizing the students, which makes it more likely for them to be attacked by dogs.
In the yearbook,
Willow's just here just to love you and to just tell you everything's gonna be okay.
Willow's
Okay, now that's a lie. That's a lie. So they're forcing kids to detach from reality and to be delusional. How is this beneficial? I can tell you how it's detrimental and dangerous. They are trying their best to remove probably the most healthy fear that a child could have in this country. The healthiest fear a child can have in this country is a fear of dogs, especially large dogs. And they make it a point to desensitize these kids using large dogs. They know what they're doing.
Love you and to just tell you everything's gonna be okay.
She said the dog is there to love you and to tell you, using language, that everything is going to be okay. Do you think this is beneficial for students? This is a school. How is it mentally healthy to teach kids to detach themselves from reality to such an extent that it endangers them? See, when the teachers at a school teach kids something that will endanger them and increase the chances that they will be mutilated and mauled, that should be against the law. That should warrant the arrest of the teachers in that school and everyone involved in bringing that dog into that school. Again, the most dangerous thing that's going on is not health-wise, even though it could be if the dog has a very dangerous bug or whatever. The most dangerous thing that's going on is how they're being desensitized. When we hear all these dog attacks that I report on nonstop, that you see on Pitbull Victim Awareness, in many of those cases, those kids have been desensitized. That's why many times they're actually trying to play with the dog. They're trying to interact with the dog, doing exactly what they were taught to do by the parents, and here you see also by the teachers in their schools. These teachers, they play a role in many of these maulings. What about that don't y'all get? And I'm not talking to the followers of this channel. I'm talking to these nutters. Yeah, Lucifer is your God.
Willow's mom, Amy Walls, plays an even more important role.
When I feel like I need to open up to somebody, me and Amy have that connection.
No, she's talking about the dog, people. How on earth is this healthy in terms of their social development? This will only put more space, more distance between themselves and other humans. This will only make them more antisocial. And when they try to interact with people, socially awkward.
That I know that I can trust her with what I'm going through.
Trust the dog with what you're going through? What? The state of delusion. Again, I'm giving you reasons why I would not surrender my child to be under the care, under the tutelage of these sick, twisted freaks. I really feel sorry for people around the world who look at it as their dream to relinquish their kids under the tutelage of teachers inside of schools like this. You are plumb out of your mind.
Amy and Willow bring a listening ear and a...
Notice that drugged up dog has fallen asleep. Something that can only happen if it's drugged up. If it were not drugged up, it would be so stimulated by the new environment, the new faces, being surrounded by all these people, it would have a flippin' anxiety attack. The only way it can sit there and fall asleep is if it is heavily sedated, which is even more sadistic and demonic on part of these nutters, because it adds to the deception. They project the idea to the students that dogs are naturally this calm, when in reality, they have a heavily drugged up dog inside that school. Now, before you nutters try to object, I'm going to provide more evidence to support that fact on this live stream. So calm down. Worthless mutt fell asleep.
Will bring a listening ear and a pup's unconditional love to make their day brighter and relieve anxiety.
Unconditional love. When the dog is not doing anything at all, sniffing their hand, maybe licking their hand, literally doing nothing at all, this is not an example of love. The miseducation here, the deception. These are a bunch of sick freaks. I can't keep up with the lies.
Anxiety and depression.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's back that up. You hear that?
With what I'm going through.
Amy and Willow bring a listening ear and a pup's unconditional love to make their day brighter and relieve anxiety and depression.
Relieve anxiety and depression. Now, that's a lie. They don't relieve anxiety, and they do not relieve depression. It just makes it more pathetic that they're using a heavily sedated, drugged up dog to relieve other people's stress and anxiety. First, you have to... Any drugged up organism is going to be calm. But this is supposed to somehow be magical. Such corny, cringe, weird goofball nutters.
It's like this boulder has been lifted off your shoulders and like all the stress kind of fades away.
When we first met the pair in February, Amy shared her why behind the visits. Her son's mental health crisis 16 years ago.
He attempted to take his life in front of his little brother.
Whoa, what? What?
Behind the visits. Her son's mental health crisis 16 years ago.
He attempted to take his life in front of his little brother.
Your son attempted to take his life in front of his little brother. I can understand why. If he has a mother like you, I can understand why. A mother that is far more excited about dogs, who puts dogs above them, why wouldn't he feel worthless? Why wouldn't he feel worthless? And I know for a fact this woman exalts dogs over her kids. Look at her. She wants to bring dogs into every school in Minnesota. You see how this is like child abuse? It's a form of neglect. You want to be the apple of your parents' eye, but instead it's a dog. And no matter how hard you try, she always loves the dog more. Yeah, that would drive a child crazy. And she's projecting the idea that somehow the dog helps her through it.
The love of a dog helped her son and their family survive. Amy started...
Okay, now what you just saw that dog, what was it doing? What was that dog doing in that moment? Look at it again. What's it doing? Sniffing that child's shirt, isn't it? Is that supposed to be some type of loving gesture? That's affection? That's a dog's love? Sniffing on you? Get out of here, you weirdos. Wow. Shut up, man. With this love talk.
Family survive. Amy started sharing her story to students in 2021 and started a nonprofit called You're Not Alone.
Wow.
Her mission is to bring therapy dog visits to every middle school in Minnesota.
Really? People, this dog is drugged up. Not only are they in serious violation, just bringing the dog into this school, but to mislead the students with a drugged up dog, getting them to believe, oh, dogs are calm. This is where they're actually teaching the kids to go up to dogs when they see them, to go into the house when they know dogs are in there. This contributes to the attacks that we hear about.
After our story, curiosity and support came from far and wide.
Quite shockingly, I woke up to a few messages from Iowa and Alabama. We had a Minnesota man traveling through Mississippi.
So nutters in charge of schools all across the country wants dogs brought into their middle schools. Giving you an example, several examples of why I would not, if I had kids, relinquish them to be under the care of these dog freaks. I really don't understand how so many people admire these whack jobs. I just don't get it.
Who saw it and reached out to us, who has a therapy dog up in the Bemidji area.
Look at how disrespectful this is. They don't ask you. They just bring dogs around your kid. Teach your kids. They help to enable your kids to be attacked. So they are perpetrating the crime, not me for pointing it out. Oh yeah, you nutters. You're always stopping by. You leave these comments on my videos trying to project this idea that somehow I'm the bad guy for pointing out this sick stuff that y'all do. You cannot explain how I'm the bad guy. I'm just the bad guy for pointing out y'all's sick behavior. If you, people in the dog culture, if you were not violating other people, we wouldn't have anything to call out. So don't try that.
Yeah, it made me realize it's a big goal, but that it's achievable.
June here is one of 8 new therapy dogs that have joined the You're Not Alone team since we were last here in February, and she's ready to go with a new assignment this fall in Elk River schools. Is that right?
Yeah, it is.
This ain't got nothing to do with therapy, people. It's desensitizing them. Also, it's their way of, in my opinion, and this is my personal belief, This is their way of trying to promote zoophilia. Look at this. You as the boss, you go put your face up to one of your workers like this. You got your face really right up on their face, talking in their ear. They will get very uncomfortable. You might even face some type of charge. Okay? This is intimacy.
June's handler, Heather Ely.
When I was in school, it was...
And notice, there are 5 students right there on the floor. It's not a whole classroom. They're projecting this idea that everybody loved the dogs. No. The kids who wanted to rub and interact with the dogs, they stayed and got in that little circle. Now, before there was a lot of students. Now, that may have been it still would have been a small classroom. But it's too many students for my comfort. Even this 5, these dogs should not be in there at all. Because even if the other students walked away and did something else, they're still being indoctrinated and miseducated. Still being taught that dogs are nothing to fear. When dogs, and only dogs, launch the most brutal types of attacks on them. They don't bother to teach these kids that, hey, guess what else? These are the only creatures in society that mutilate you on a regular basis. And they kill one of you about once every week. There's a child somewhere in the United States alone that suffered a fatality. They send about 1,000 of you into the emergency room every single day in the United States. Do you think these dog nutters are teaching the students that? And that is what they should be teaching them. Instead, they're lying to them and teaching them that these things are harmless. But I'm the bad guy for pointing this out.
It's still very taboo to talk about mental health or anxiety or depression. You didn't. And as we know, that doesn't help anything.
Heather and June got the training required and shadowed Amy and Willow on visits.
That's enough. That's enough of these sick freaks. One of my pet peeves is the therapy dog industry. That is where their nuttery, their insanity is shown in full bloom, in all of its nastiness. That is one of the most trifling, hideous articles. This thing surfaced last month. How disgusting. This should be unconstitutional. Now, this is going on all across the country, as we all know. It always is.
To school, the first wave of students actually returned.
This surfaced 5 days ago.
Returned to classes on Wednesday.
So I went to my wife's back to school event last night, and this lady says, "Do you know about this dog?" I said, "No." So, new this morning, one school system is counting on a Pearl to make an impact on kids on their first day and way beyond.
Good. Yeah, this is Pearl. What do you think? Do you like her?
Okay.
Pearl will be on patrol.
Okay, let me stop this. You know what? I'm not going to show this. You know what this is? This is endangerment right here. And it's child abuse. Bringing dogs around kids and teaching those kids to rub on them, encouraging them to rub on those dogs, is a way of teaching those kids that they're harmless and that when they see dogs that they should go up to them and try to rub them. That's child abuse because it's endangerment. That is sick. Okay? I don't care that YouTube doesn't acknowledge it as endangerment. Now, why am I showing this? In a live stream titled Inhumane Mutations. It is because all of these therapy dogs are drugged up. Not once have they ever brought a dog in as a therapy dog in a school, and that dog was not drugged up. Listen to this.
Okay, so we are on our way to the vet. I would be lying if I said I was not a total nervous wreck.
Let's skip the intro. Check this out.
Guys, Tucker was prescribed some trazodone before his vet appointment tomorrow. So I'm gonna give it to him.
It was prescribed some anti-anxiety medication for its vet visit tomorrow. So she has to give this dog, she has to medicate it for a vet visit tomorrow.
His vet appointment tomorrow. So I'm gonna give it to him tonight at 6 p.m. with his meal. I'm actually soaking it in some salmon oil right now, and then I'm going to mix some water, and he's on his kitchen, and hopefully he'll just gobble that right down. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up and then give him another pill, and then I'll give him a pill at 2 p.m.
This is before a visit to the vet. Keep in mind, that's only one person. And the vet told her to drug it up first. They told her, don't bring your dog in here unless you've given it 3 separate doses. She about to give it a pill at 6 p.m., then another in the morning, then another right before she takes it to the vet. And you telling me they don't drug those dogs up before they bring them into schools?
So I'm really hoping it'll help with his vet visit. So I will keep you guys updated on how that goes. All right. It's like hard cream cheese. I'm gonna give him his last pill before we go. We'll leave in about, well, his appointment's in an hour. So,
now, look, I don't even know about all this. They wrap the pills up in food. Obviously, dumb mutt will eat anything. Now she has drugged this thing up. This thing is going into the vet office after 3 consecutive well-timed doses. After 3 doses of anything that should take effect after the first dose, there must be a serious anxiety issue here. This anxiety is directly related to the fact that these are mutants. It is because they are mutants that they suffer from so much anxiety. And that itself is inhumane. The humane thing to do is to stop breeding these things. Humanely drive them into extinction. Since you all like to brag on how you do things humanely exterminate them.
Tucker, it's okay. Come up, up. Good boy. You sit. It's okay. It's okay. Tucker, sit. Good. Give her a paw. Yeah, give me a paw.
Okay, now she's going through the pageantry. Check this out. Listen to what she says.
He has to come back in a few weeks to up the vaccines again and for a checkup. She's checking the lumps to see if they're fatty. He's still very nervous, but he's taking...
She said it's still very nervous. After 3 doses, it's still very nervous. It's only one person that walks into the room, people.
food and not making puddles on the floor of drool. So a little bit of shaking, a little bit of panting.
A little bit of shaking and a little bit of panting. You're going to be able to see this dog trembling.
But he took
You can see it now.
And it was really sweet. You were so sweet with the vet. Yeah. So she did give us
Listen, look at this.
a lot more trazodone for
And then they gave her a whole lot more for what?
next time.
For next time. The vet demands that the dog is drugged up before she brings it in. And we supposed to assume that these therapy dogs y'all bringing into schools are not drugged up, even though they're going into these schools falling asleep? You're pathetic. You're pathetic. And that's dirtbag behavior. That is so trashy and subhuman, dirtbaggish. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
I do think the trazodone helped. It didn't make his fear.
And this mutt was still shaking and trembling. Look at this.
He was not panting as much. He was not drooling as much. He was still shaking and panting.
You see the hair on its back legs? After 3 consecutive doses, this mutant, this deranged mutant, is still shaking and trembling.
He was not panting as much. He was not drooling as much. He was still shaking and panting.
What a pathetic, worthless trash of an organism. These things are such an abomination. They are such an abnormality in this universe that it's inhumane to maintain their existence. That makes sense? And the humane thing to do would be to get rid of them. Okay, some of you nutters, you still don't believe me. She said he was still shaking and panting and really scared of what? Of one flipping person walking into the room. And we supposed to believe that these things around a whole classroom full of kids is calm, so calm it falls asleep. Get out of here. You know how deceptive, you know how misleading that is? To bring a deadly creature that's drugged up into a school around kids and tell the kids, come rub on it. Knowing that in the real world, they're going to deal with dogs that are not on drugs, that are not sedated, that may be bully breeds. And because these nutters taught those kids to go up and rub on dogs when they see them, they do it out in the real world and get mutilated. That's a case of those teachers literally teaching those kids to do something dangerous, deadly, something that can kill them. And that's why that should be illegal. These people should not be allowed to bring dogs at all into schools. And I believe this is on the clock. This bringing therapy dogs into schools is on the clock. There will be more and more people speaking against this filth, this weirdo, occultist type of filth. And dogs will be removed because people are going to start pulling their kids out of these public schools. They're going to start going up to these schools, complaining. Now, all you nutters already know what you're doing. Now look at this. These dogs are on medication. Huh? This is an article that surfaced a few hours ago. Rescue pit bull can't hide he's high after surgery. That is the video that they made an article out of. People, the behavior of that pit bull is no different from the behavior of these therapy dogs. That's just a drugged up dog, just like these dogs in these schools. That's all it is. You can't make this up. The anxiety
Hey, you guys.
that they talk about, based on their own arguments, is something so serious that is inhumane. Inhumane to keep these things in existence. Because you see, this tendency to be filled with anxiety leads to aggression. But the aggression is not out of fear. You know, the aggression is closely tied to the dog's anxiety, heightened sense of anxiety. Don't get confused with the word anxiety. You can have an increase in anxiety before a fist fight, but that increased anxiety helps you in the fight. So it's sort of like a fight or flight thing. They'll tell you that a dog that's filled with anxiety is more likely to attack. But that's not a fear-based attack. Okay, when dogs fear something, they don't attack. Anxiety, keep that in mind. Heightened anxiety.
Hey you guys, I'm Denise Mazzola. This is Gio. We are from Everything Dog, and in today's video we're going to talk about the 3 benefits for some dogs, not all dogs, to be on anti-anxiety medication. This is all coming from 30 years of experience working with thousands of dogs that are anxious, aggressive, fearful, where medication was able to play an important role in their quality of life and in their success in life. Not all of your dogs are going to need anti-anxiety medication, but those that do can really, really benefit. One of the biggest benefits that you...
Notice how she constantly invades the dog's personal space. Now, I hate to even say that. But I noticed this with a lot of dog nutters. They act like dogs themselves. So they don't respect other people's personal space. And I find myself always having to tell them to back up. Nutters, stop getting in people's faces with your nasty, stinking dog breath. We don't want your little droplets, your little nasty dog saliva, your dander clouds that you bring with you everywhere you go. Understand, nutters, you are nasty to a person who's not a dog person, especially a person who's not a pet person at all. You're actually harmful to people like that. They'll most likely have extremely sensitive sinuses and have allergic reactions just to you getting too close to them. Keep your distance. You goofballs, you want to be noticed and praised so bad you get all up in people's faces performing. Calm down and shut up and back up. I ordered some hats and t-shirts say stay 6 feet away. Goofball nutters always getting up in people's faces. Look at how her hand keeps coming extremely close to this hideous drugged up mutt's face. They do that with people. Be all up in people's space. Goofball, that is so inhumane. Behaving like a little primitive retard.
You can see when you put your dog on medication and it levels out, you find that sweet spot of dosage and whatever else is going on. It's not just, oh, take a pill and...
It's like, woman, back up. Get your goofy behind away from me. And I hate when people are facing me and they get right up in my face. Dude, back up. I can hear you just fine 8 feet away. You goofball. Bringing your filth all up in my face. Lord.
Feel better. It's not like that. Is that any kind of training, behavior modification that you're trying to work with your anxious dog? When you lower the anxiety, the training can increase and it can sort of...
Notice, this dumb mutt is drugged up, but it's still dealing with anxiety. All that looking around, lip licking, looking up, down, side to side. And this is a drugged up dog.
Get better, right? So if I am in a full-blown anxiety attack because there's a spider over there that you guys can't see, and I'm like, oh my God.
You see how her stupid arm keep waving like within inches of the dog's face? That is rude. And these savage, primitive dog beasts just continue to violate people's personal space. Unbelievable.
Okay, there's a spider. All right, like, I think I can do this, okay. And I'm trying to, like, talk to the camera. Oh, God, the spider, it's moving now. Oh, still, what? You're trying to talk to me, and the spider moves again. Maybe you're trying to give me hundreds of dollars or $800 bill or whatever for doing something. My brain is split between survival, got to get away from the spider, and really wanting the treats or the $100 that you're trying to give me. You can reduce that anxiety.
What is she talking about? What in the world is she talking about? Now watch this.
About the quality of life that you are providing your dog. I know, Gio, it's pretty hot.
She said, I know it's pretty hot. No. That dumb dog just got tired of your stupid hand constantly flying in its face, you big dummy. Even the dumb, brainless dog got tired of your idiocy. Now, I want to segue into more of these deformities. Because anxiety, the tendency, and this is real anxiety, these things be shaking and trembling. Now that can easily and quickly help to fuel an attack, especially if it's a bully breed. Understand, the bully breed's anxiety, it's a different thing. It's mixing with different chemicals and whatnot. It's a different breed. So it'll have a different response to anxiety. I don't think I ever shared this before. But I've talked about bully breeds. And I've recently been talking about bully breeds as a group of mutants that mutated from the mutant dog. Now, dogs themselves are mutants. All dogs are mutants. Pit bulls mutated. They heavily, like drastically mutated from the mutants. Which is why they are so prone to defects. 17 common health problems seen in bully breeds. Now, they wrote pit bulls, but they're talking about all bully breeds, because all bully breeds are extremely mutated. Now, if I'm not mistaken, pugs are bully breeds. Of course, bulldogs are bully breeds, but they are extremely mutated. They are more mutated than some of the other bully breed types. They give these dogs a bunch of fancy names for an extent of mutation. That is exactly how you should look at it. As they mutate, and the more mutated, they just give the different stages of mutations a different name. And you think it's all sophisticated. Oh, look at God. God's creation. No. Look at this. Allergies and common health problems. But the body of this article, there's more to it. They're saying that bully breeds are more prone to these different afflictions. Ear infections, their predisposition to allergies makes them more likely to get ear infections. Okay? Skin infections. Okay? They say they're more prone to skin conditions than some other breeds. Why? Because they are more mutated. The more you mutate, the more deformities you acquire. That's the hallmark of a mutant. Now, I don't even know how to pronounce this. I don't even know what is it. Another skin condition causes dry, flaky skin. Okay. Skin cancer. What? Now, this is getting kind of ridiculous. Skin cancer? Look, pit bull's skin is more exposed to the sun than most dogs, and as a result, they're more prone to cancer. So why do you call them fur babies? Y'all ever notice that? They always calling these things fur babies, fur this, fur that, when these things barely even have fur. They don't have an attractive coat of fur. It almost looks like they're bare skin. Come to find out, scientifically, biologically, they don't have enough fur. They're more prone to skin cancer. They're more prone to sunburn. Bully breeds, more likely to sunburn. They don't have enough fur. That's inhumane. You see, it's more inhumane to keep things like this on the planet. It's actually humane to get rid of creatures like this. And they know that they should. They know that's the right thing to do. Right thing to do is to exterminate these things. But they get off on the deformities. You know, they laugh at it. Skin cancer in a mutt. Bully breed. Anxiety. They're saying that bully breeds are more prone to anxiety. Now, I don't know how true that is, but what I do suspect is that they deal with anxiety more often, but only in the form of aggression. Like, when you become aggressive, there's always some element of anxiety included in that, even if you know that you can take the person you're being aggressive with. Like, even when you know you can whoop somebody, your anxiety, your nerves, you still get that fight or flight. So this may be breed related. But they're saying that bully breeds are more prone to anxiety. And they're saying that anxiety in a dog can lead to an attack. So you're extremely immoral and inhumane for having these things in society. If they're more prone to anxiety and anxiety leads to attack, connect the dots. All the more reason they should be banned and they have no place in society. Separation anxiety. Listen to these people. Anxiety, separation anxiety. Hip dysplasia. I mean, look at these things. That's not an animal. That's a monster. That's a mutated monster. A hideous, unsightly monster. And they're more likely to have hip dysplasia. Okay. Now, what is this? Luxating patella? Okay, it's getting ridiculous now. Look at that thing. They call these things pretty and handsome. You know, they always putting clothes and t-shirts and hair bonnets and whatnot on these monsters. That's why they do that. They try their best to sort of dampen the hideousness. But it doesn't help. Now, luxating patella is a kneecap that dislocates or pops in and out of place just for no reason. Yeah, sound like a mutant to me. That makes perfect sense. You know, that makes perfect sense to me. Now that I always keep it close in mind that these are mutants. These are actually mutated mutants. So a kneecap just deciding to pop out of place and dislocate doesn't surprise me. Now, okay, now people, it's getting ridiculous now. What is this? Cerebellar ataxia? I don't even know how to pronounce this. It's a neurological problem. Causes the dog to walk irregularly. Lesions in the dog's cerebellum cause symptoms such as incoordination, stumbling, and walking as if they're climbing stairs, despite walking on a flat surface. That is a mutant, people. That's a mutant. Wow. It can be caused by malformation of the cerebellum. People, I don't even know what they're talking about. But degenerative changes, brain tumors, brain infections, inflammation, and poisoning from medications. Huh? What is this? Neuronal ceroid lipofuscinosis. What? I never heard of that. It's a group of diseases. Oh, God. A group of diseases. Symptoms include anxiety, circling. Y'all remember years ago, I talked about how dogs walk in circles. Just deranged and dysfunctional. Circling, aggression. Check that out. Again, they're talking about bully breeds. They're spilling the beans, basically. Now, I've talked about how mutants are more prone to aggression. They're usually more aggressive. Who cares that it's linked to anxiety or whatever? Who cares? The only thing that matters is that now you got an aggressive or more aggressive creature. What is it? Cranial cruciate ligament injury. Cranial cruciate ligament. Huh? Okay. Hyperthyroidism. Progressive retinal atrophy. Dental disease. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Okay? I'm going to get as far as hyperoo. After that, hey, knock yourself out. It's a mutt disease. That's all you need to know. It occurs when a dog's urine contains too much uric acid. Bully breeds are more prone. And finally, cleft palate. We all know what that is. And then they provide a nice little summary of all of these conditions. How about that? Take a look at a true mutant. A mutant that is in extreme advanced stages of mutation. The prime example of a mutant. Not an animal. And most importantly, these are not God's creatures. That's not an opinion. It's not a belief. That's a fact that can be proven. These things are actually despised by God, despised by nature, by the universe itself. And the pit bull lobby people, all the people in high places, they know this. They're fully aware of this. Yet they still pump millions of dollars to promote or have pit bulls promoted to the general public as family pets. Something very crazy going on here. Oh boy, do we have a nutter in the chat room? I see a nutter in the chat room who asks, why do you hate dogs? See, I don't understand what you are talking about. This sounds like a Happy Meat Farms documentary. Said, why do you hate dogs? Yeah. It's sad seeing these people, like when they finally show up, finally leave a comment in the comment section of a video, or when they finally chime in the chat room, they really don't say much. They don't make a point. They struggle to make a point. And I'm willing to listen to them. I want your best argument. I fished them out, all the time. I look for your positions and beliefs, and I share them and refute them here on both my channels. But as soon as you have the chance to make a real argument, they don't say nothing. It's a letdown. They have a lot of confidence on their own platforms, but they won't engage. Okay, well, listen, I understand why. Because you have nothing. The only thing you can do is confess, right? And submit. Shout out to everybody able to join me on this live stream. This is my streaming channel. I'm gonna be exclusively live streaming from this channel, not the other channel. I went live earlier today on that channel just to let people know that I have another channel for streaming, right? And I actually should have done this a long time ago. I like the idea of having one channel for those short videos. And people have been telling me for a long time, hey, make short videos, make short videos. Now it'll, primarily be on one whole channel and, help get the message out. Just wait till I figure out how to make shorts, man. I don't know what's going on. It's like the hardest thing to figure out. My options, I don't know. Maybe I have to figure that out. A lot of room for growth. Okay, you don't like dogs. Don't repeat things over and over, please. No, don't do that. Don't do that. It's spam, unnecessary spam. Okay, I gotta put you in timeout now. See, you're not paying attention to the host. That's a no-no. Okay, you have to listen. Okay, I talk. I see you typing, but you're spamming the same sentences. That's childish. So if you are a young person, you got to step your game up when you're in here. Yeah. Shout out to everybody able to join me for this live stream. And I hope to see you on the next as we continue with this crusade.